Greetings, fellow classic TV fans! A popular action-adventure TV show hit the NBC airways from 1964 to 1970. It was initially developed by 20th Century Fox as a continuation of the successful Disney miniseries Davy Crockett. But Disney wouldn't sell the rights, so they had to go with an alternative yet similar character, Daniel Boone. So similar, in fact, that they employed the same lead actor, the legendary Fess Parker, complete with raccoon hat, to play the part. With his wife Rebecca, played by Patricia Blair, Daniel Boone also had some memorable co-star sidekicks. There was Albert Selmy, Ed Ames, and Jimmy Dean, I love sausage, played Josh Clements in seasons 3 through 6. After making a successful transition from pro football, Rosie Greer co-starred in season 6. So even though the producers didn't get their Davy Crockett show, Daniel Boone was a huge success, running 6 seasons for 165 episodes. And I guess this proves that classic TV frontiersmen are apparently interchangeable. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans! You know what two of my favorite classic TV westerns were? The Big Valley and Gunsmoke. And do you know what the two shows had in common? Well, clearly they were both westerns, and they both had incredible casts. But even more interesting was the amount of iconic guest stars they shared. For example, there was Bruce Dern, who played a total of 9 different characters on both shows. Robert Loggia, Charles Bronson, and Oscar winner Martin Landau also guest starred. They both had Cloris Leachman, Dennis Hopper, and Richard Dreyfuss. And classic television came well represented too. Both shows had Russell Johnson, William Shatner, and Adam West. Great storylines, lots of action, and deep drama. They both had those too. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans! From 1965 to 67, F Troop ran on ABC for 65 episodes. While the Old West comedy focused on the major comedic talents of its cast, they also had some pretty funny Native American neighbors in the Hakawi tribe. They claimed to originally be from Massachusetts, but moved west because the Pilgrims ruined the neighborhood. The Hakawi took on their name during their migration west once they realized they were lost. Thus the term, "Where the heck are we?" became "We're the Hakawi." The writers initially wanted to call them the Fugawi, but the censors got the joke. Frank DeCova played the chief, claiming they were proud descendants of cowards. He even had his name changed from Yellow Chicken to Wild Eagle. Edward Everett Horton appeared in the first season as Medicine Man Roaring Chicken. He was the son of Sitting Duck. Horton was the recognizable narrator of Rocky and Bullwinkle's Fractured Fairy Tales. Well, F Troop surely fractured some fairy tales of the Old West, but they sure knew how to make it funny in the process. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans! We all know the big, lovable bear of a man, Dan Blocker, as Hoss Cartwright on Bonanza. For a total of 13 seasons from 1959 to 72, Dan played this larger-than-life character. With westerns seeming to be his specialty, he left a huge legacy on classic TV. For instance, he appeared on shows like Wagon Train, Have Gun Will Travel, and Cheyenne. He also appeared on Gunsmoke, Maverick, The Rifleman, and many more. His reputation off-camera was that of a friendly, humble man, much like his character on Bonanza. In contrast to the slightly dim-witted Hoss, Dan was actually a highly educated man with a degree in English and a master's degree in dramatic arts. His 2 sons followed in his showbiz footsteps. Dirk Blocker currently plays Detective Hitchcock on NBC's hit Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and his brother David is also an executive producer. In 1979, Michael Landon and Lauren Green bought a stretch of beach in Malibu and donated it back to the state in Dan's memory, which to this day is still recognized as Dan Blocker Beach. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans! One of early television's most popular genres was the Western. By 1959, there were 30 on the air and 8 in the top 10. Here's my top 5 favorites of all time. Starting at number 5, it was The High Chaparral. The diverse cast and storyline made it perfectly unique for its time. And as for acting prowess, Cameron Mitchell as Uncle Buck and Henry Darrow as Manolito really stood out. Number 4 was Alias Smith and Jones, which was spun off the fake names that Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid actually used in the movie. I felt the chemistry of Pete Duell and Ben Murphy really conveyed the magic of the outlaw buddy duo story to the small screen. My number 3 was The Wild Wild West, starring Robert Conrad. They successfully blended in sci-fi fantasy elements, making it a little like Star Trek meets James Bond in the 19th century. At number 2, The Rifleman. Mixed with a true-to-life, sometimes violent Old West, the deep drama based off the bond between a widowed father and son made it all really powerful. But my #1 favorite was The Big Valley. With the acting talent of Barbara Stanwyck, Lee Majors, Richard Long, Linda Evans, and my all-time favorite TV cowboy, Peter Breck, this show taught me what the power of a great ensemble cast could do for a classic TV Western. By the early 70s, many of the classic TV Westerns simply rode off into the sunset, but never out of our memories. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. When you think of the TV Western Gunsmoke, who do you think of? Why, James Arness, of course. After World War II, Arness got a suggestion by his younger brother, Peter Graves, to become a radio announcer. And so, as his first small step into showbiz, James began his career at WLOL Radio in Minneapolis. The next step reportedly involved hitchhiking to Hollywood to break into the movies. Arness landed his first role in the 1947 film The Farmer's Daughter. As he earned more parts in what was mainly westerns, he struck up a lifelong friendship with the king of the genre, John Wayne. When offered the TV role of Marshal Dillon, Arness turned it down flat, feeling like the big screen was his true calling. But his friend and mentor, Mr. Wayne, told him he'd be crazy to pass it up. This turned out to be pretty good advice. Beginning in 1955 and for the next 20 years plus, James Arness played the iconic Matt Dillon, appearing in all 635 episodes of Gunsmoke. This gave him the distinction of having the leading role in one of the longest-running TV dramas ever. His character wore a star on his chest, and thanks to Gunsmoke, James Arness earned his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans! In the early 70s, a unique action adventure hit the airwaves called Kung Fu, which blended the classic television Western drama with martial arts action. The show ran on NBC from 1972 to 75 for 63 episodes. According to creator Ed Spielman, after passing on Bruce Lee for the lead role, which is a whole nother episode, actor David Carradine was suggested. Although reluctant about his difficult reputation, as soon as they heard him read for the role, they knew they had their man. But one small problem was that Carradine had absolutely zero martial arts skills. Fortunately, he had been trained in the art of dance, which came in handy, or should I say, footy, during his initial interview. According to the star, he used his best Gene Kelly move to leave his bare footprint above the door of the casting office on his way out. Carradine later humorously speculated that it impressed them because they never cleaned the footprint off during the entire run of the show. With his keen agility and the help of martial arts advisors David Chow and Cam Ewan, as well as some slow-motion editing, Carradine was able to portray a kung fu master. Rounding out the cast with Key Luke as Master Po, Philip Ahn as Master Khan, and utilizing the actual teachings of the Tao Te Ching, this classic TV show wasn't just entertaining, but was quite possibly a source of enlightenment. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. The Big Valley ran from 1966 to 69 for a total of 137 episodes. This highly acclaimed TV Western brought us a who's who of great actors, all of whom became classic TV legends. For decades, Barbara Stanwyck was an A-list movie star who had appeared in 85 films. During her 60-year career, Stanwyck earned many awards and nominations, ultimately bringing that movie star power to television in the lead role of Victoria Barkley. In 1953, Richard Long, who played Jared, co-starred in a feature film called All I Desire with Barbara Stanwyck. Long had 3 notable main roles during his classic TV career, specifically Bourbon Street Beat, the initial seasons of 77 Sunset Strip, and of course, Nanny and the Professor. Nick Barkley was played by the great Peter Breck. He was discovered by Robert Mitchum, who got him a role in his 1958 film, Thunder Road. Having worked as a ranch hand and known to have had one of the fastest draws on TV Westerns, Breck was a natural for the many roles he earned in the popular genre. Linda Evans played the stunningly beautiful Audra Barkley. One of her first TV guest star roles was in a 1960 episode of Bachelor Father with her future Dynasty co-star John Forsythe. And did you know that Linda actually filmed the iconic Evel Knievel crash at Caesar's Palace? And reportedly, she later dated her Big Valley co-star, Lee Majors. Go figure. Speaking of whom, Majors was picked out of 400 actors, including Burt Reynolds, for the role of Heath Barkley. Nicknamed the Blonde Elvis, his role as the $6 Million Man was a global success, and as a special treat to Big Valley fans, both Linda Evans and Peter Breck guest starred with him in his 80s series, The Fall Guy. The Big Valley is noted for its fine editing, international popularity, and well-polished look, but for me, as one of my favorites, it was all about that talented main cast.